All right, good afternoon. Welcome to Real Talk. And I am here with Scott Dideon of Green City Pest and Michael Burdick of Loan Depot. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the housing market. We're going to talk about Scott and Green City Pest. And of course, Michael is always going to provide us with some insights on what's going on. Before we get into that, let's kind of go over some interesting things that we're seeing in the market. And what we can expect for 2020. And I'll tell you this, okay? And guys, you can speak up if you agree, but what I thought 2020 was going to be like and what it is completely different. How about you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So a couple of things to think about when it comes to real estate, okay? And so how this conversation will go is there are several things you want to consider, but I'm going to give you two key ingredients. And the first one is to hire a trusted local expert. One of the first rules in real estate is what, Michael? Do you know?
I mean, use someone that specializes in the area that you want to buy.
Yep. But the first rule in real estate is location, 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 right? And so I've been here on the east side now for 17 years, I think 17 years on the east side, lived in Seattle. Michael, you've been in Sammamish in the Northwest all your life, right?
Yeah. I mean, Washington. I went to school in Ellensburg, lived in Seattle 6 years, Snoqualmie 7 years, and I've been in Sammamish for a couple of years now.
Now, Scott, I think you've traveled around a bit, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Renton, moved out to the East Coast, went to college, and lived out on the East Coast for a few years. Got involved in pest control, kind of as what I thought was just going to be a transition, and I fell in love with it. Every day is different, and it's a challenge. And then I went back to college and got a master's degree in entomology, and have been traveling through the Midwest. Came back to Seattle about 15 years ago. And
so do you think your local knowledge, I mean, growing up here, do you think that that's helped your current business that you're doing, the pest control services?
Honestly, no, because I just didn't know enough at that point. But I would say being here for about 15 years and seeing changes in the market, whether it's just how houses are built, changes with pests, and even in the real estate market has been beneficial.
Awesome. So in real estate, when it comes to local expert, there's a lot of different things that go into that. And my opinion is there's a couple of things that you can't really replace, like getting a feel for a community, I think takes time, right? Living in the community. I've been doing real estate on the east side for 14 years. You learn a little bit on how spots in Kirkland might have similar enclaves in, say, Redmond or even Sammamish, right? The neighborhood styles, but then learning about the schools. And I think schools is kind of one of the biggest, I want to say, sticking points or driving points for many people for the reasons why they make the home purchases where they do. So knowing what school districts and, quite frankly, which schools are offering the kind of experience, right, that the consumers are looking for their kids. Although we know that experience is going to change drastically as far as the future is concerned, in my opinion. Any thoughts about, what you love about now? Scott, you live in Maple Valley, right?
Yeah, we actually moved out to Maple Valley for the school district. That was that wasn't really our original, desire, but we were one of those that. I came home from work. My wife said, we're moving. And in 2 weeks we had moved into a rental home, and we were looking for a quick sale house.
Ooh, I like that view, Scott. Your view just improved. Thank you for bringing the
really
guy in. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, so the other thing to consider, like where we're headed right now, what do you guys think about this? But there seems to be a move about people getting away from the urbanization, like trying to find a little bit more of a rural, little bit more elbow space. Oh, there you go. Great branding. A little more elbow space, that kind of thing. Michael, you're building a place, right?
Yeah, we've been giving it a go for a couple of years now, as you know. But yeah, I mean, I think home is becoming very important to people right now. You know, as we shift into post-COVID, I mean, I think a lot of businesses are seeing that we don't need these huge leased offices. If people can work remotely, and maybe it'll be some sort of satellite office where they're working half as much in the office. But yeah, I think home is very important, and people are seeing that they're going to be spending the majority of their time there for the reasonable future.
So they're looking for something more comfortable. Let's talk about interest rates, since Scott will come back here in a second. What are you seeing? What effect is the market having, the stock market, this current market, what's it having on interest rates right now?
So anytime there's volatility in the market, mortgage rates come down. And this is probably the most volatile market that's ever been. So, I mean, the people, especially in our Seattle area, are seeing a robust real estate market. And that's because I don't think we're as affected as other parts of the country. You know, we have tech that's keeping our economy booming, and then with the great interest rates, that's keeping the buyers very competitive. You know, how long they stay low, we don't know. I mean, we could come out with a cure of the coronavirus in a week, and that could bounce the stock market way up, and that could bring mortgage rates up. So it's something that's creating some urgency for some people when they're buying, and then also people while they're sitting at home and they're knowing that they've got really good values in their house and the rates are really good, and it's a good time to work on their current mortgage and refinance that. So it's very busy for the mortgage industry right now.
Yeah, we were lucky to get Michael for as long as we had, because he's busier than a one-armed paper hanger right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, let me go back to you with the question I had before we lost you. Was with people moving out into more rural areas, what are you seeing in the way of pest infestations? And because now we're starting to push into their territory, right?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what's happening, the dynamics is really involving roof rats and odorous house ants. Those are two invasive species that have come to King County in the past 15 years. Odorous house ants about 8 to 9 years ago. And roof rats are the ones that are really be concerned about. They can do a lot of damage in the crawl spaces and attics. So typically out in the rural areas, the concern would be with rodents, just deer mice in the past. They wouldn't do a lot of damage, but now roof rats have moved into those areas, so they're destroying thousands of dollars worth of money. If you've got a larger house and it's a ranch style house and you've got a crawl space, you know, that square footage is all insulation that could be liable or destroyed. And quickly, you know, to do a clean out for a crawl space can go to $5,000 to $8,000 for the average home. That's becoming more and more likely out in the rural areas where we didn't have to worry about roof rats in the past. Now we do.
Gotcha. Okay. So I want to get back to you, Scott, with a little bit more detail on how folks can get a hold of you. But I want, Michael, just any final thoughts as far as, you know, if somebody is right now considering a purchase. I can tell you, we just sold one of our houses for our clients in Renton. There were 7 offers. What do people need to do with you to be more competitive so that they can compete? Because right now people are competing again.
Great question. And I think starting the process earlier than maybe they think they should. So, you know, getting in touch with your lender, figuring out, okay, what are my options? What's my timeline? Don't wait until the night before when you see that house you love, and then you got to get all your ducks in a row. And it's just more stress than you need to create for yourself. So sitting down with a lender, you know, a week or 2 before you find that place, getting pre-qualified, figuring out your options, and then getting that application out of the way, providing all documentation. So that way we're completely ready by the time you're able to make an offer or you find that place. And then I can make the call to the listing agent and say, hey, this person's got everything they need. They're ready to go. We've submitted underwriting. We've got pre-conditional approval. We can expedite this close. And that's going to put us in front of the line of other people that just did their app that day or maybe the night before. So
yeah, on the offer last night, I had the 7 offers, and one of them, I said, hey, I need a pre-approval letter. We can't really consider this offer if we don't have a pre-approval letter. He said, well, we'll have it for you tomorrow. Well, we basically ignored that offer.
Exactly.
Completely ignored, because it really wasn't valid with that. All right. Well, I know you have to run. So how do our listeners get a hold of you?
You can Google Michael Burdick. I'm out of Bellevue, Loan Depot. Best number for me is 206-661-2289. Thanks for having me, Dan.
All right. Thanks for coming on. After this short break, we are going to go a little bit deeper with Scott Dideon at Green City Pest. So come right back after this short break. Okay. We're going to insert a break in there so you know. Okay.
Okay.
So, Michael, you can head out. And
Okay.
then I'm going to now bring up my questions that I have, an introduction for Scott. So thank you for coming on, Michael. Appreciate it.
Sure. See you guys.
Hey, Michael. See ya.
All right.
Hey, can I go get a water bottle?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. I want to say real talk with Brian and Dan, and I can't say it.
Aw.
It's just like the habit, right? Now it's with real talk with Chris, Dan,
With
all by
Dan.
myself.
Yeah, all by himself.
Dan, all by myself. Okay, let me do this intro here. It's
So Dan, is this going to be with video or just audio, or what do you think?
so what we're going to do is we're going to actually it'll be video and audio.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're just trying to do it a little bit better produced. So there'll be intro kind of music stuff, and then there will be a commercial and so on and so forth that will be edited back in there. Probably have it ready to go on Friday, I think. And so we'll send you copies of that and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. You are watching or listening to Real Talk with Dan Edwards, broker at Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue. And our next guest today is Scott Dideon with Green City Pest. I've known Scott for, 7, 8 years, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And Scott has his master's degree in entomology from Purdue University. One of my neighbor's kids is a Boilermaker. He has been, and actually yesterday I was wearing the shirt. So yeah. He's been in the pest control industry for 32 years, developing management programs for clients like zoos, food processing facilities, research labs, LEED office buildings, LEED office buildings, and homes just like mine. As a matter of fact, I, who know better, had a log sitting out front of my house for, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years. And weird, an ant colony showed up in it. So like, again, I'm in the housing business. I should have known better not to have it. And Scott was kind enough to send his crew out here to take care of that. And his education and background allows him to be creative in developing low risk pest management programs. His passion, drive, and desire to create superior pest control has led him to establish the company Green City Pest. Welcome to the show, Scott.
Thanks, Dan. It's great to be here.
All right, so Scott, let's talk about the benefits of having a pre-inspection prior to selling your home, and where do you come in on that?
Wow. I strongly advise that. I know that's an additional cost for the homeowner for selling it, but the stories that we hear, after the fact, when an inspector goes through and he discovers a dead rat, takes a picture of it, and then the potential buyers see it and freak out, that's just from the pest management standpoint. But you think about electrical and other stuff, it would be so advantageous to have your home pre-inspected, if it's possible, before you begin to move it on the market.
Yeah, I would say that, when you look at the idea of getting a house ready for sale, you're going to vacuum the carpets. You're going to wipe off the counters. I don't want to go in my crawl space. So we always recommend all of our sellers actually get a pre-inspection, because like you said, that emotional response that shows up can create a lot of just intrepidation, because what happens when people think, well, if they let their crawl space go, what else did they let go? Right? So that's great. So now
we just had that comment made the other day, Dan. I'm sorry, but
no.
The exact same thing is, the comment was with rodents, and then the agent kind of acknowledged that there was other stuff going on too, and it was delaying things. So.
Yeah, definitely. So, I've seen some of the crawl space quotes, right, for attics. I mean, some of them in the tens of thousands of dollars. Does it really cost that much?
So it can really add up. There's but there's wise ways to do it. You know, the critical thing with crawl spaces is that you want to make sure things are sealed up properly. Otherwise, the rats and the mice are going to get back in there and destroy the insulation. It doesn't cost much more to do it right. You know, and in the long run, I think it's wiser for a seller to go that direction rather than hiccups to occur down the road. You can always go cheap. You know, there's always something that'll do a little cheaper. Our advice is just, you know, do it right, and then you don't have to worry about it.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Another expression that we use is you either pay now or you pay later.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So what about foam? So I had somebody talk about putting foam in the crawl space and said because of that, you don't need a vapor barrier. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we're seeing
also, what's a vapor barrier?
Okay. So a vapor barrier, it's also called a visqueen. It's usually 6 mils of usually black poly. It used to be clear. And it lays on the surface of the ground for a crawl space. The goal is to keep the humidity below about 11%, 12% or so in the crawl space. If it gets much higher, then you can have powder post beetles and carpenter ants and moisture ants, but especially powder post beetles begin to damage the structural wood. So, and mold and mildew too. So the purpose of the vapor barrier is just really to prevent the moisture from our part of the country that's in the soil from just kind of working its way back into that crawl space.
All right, after some technical difficulties, we've brought Scott back via the low-tech version, which is a great slide and of course his voice. So Scott, you there?
Yes, sir. Hey, Dan.
All right, so we were in the process of talking about insulation and kind of just describe for the listeners, what is your guys' process to replacing the insulation?
Yeah, so what's been happening is with roof rats expanding out and their population numbers growing in the past 15 years or so, they've gone into the crawl spaces and they love vegetations, they love kind of climbing things, and typically they can get into the attics and the roofs, and they will occasionally. But in your crawl space, they can get up into the insulation right below your flooring. And that's perfect for them. They like to be up like that, and then they just destroy it. And literally once they kind of get into a crawl space, within about 1.5 to 2 years, that insulation's pretty badly destroyed. To the average home, to do a clean out and repair and then to put in new insulation, you're looking anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. I mean, it really can add up, just the cost. So you want to do it right. What we are kind of seeing is a move. I think it's a great move, heading towards where we're using foam, closed cell foam, inside a crawl space instead of the fiberglass insulation. We're using the foam, and they've been using foam insulation probably for about 20 years or so out on the East Coast and the Midwest. They'll use it for attics and walls and crawl spaces, but it's fairly new in our area. New as in, we've had companies who are doing it for a couple of years. The product is good. They've really refined things back on the East Coast. Now what they've got is actually good quality, and it holds up well. Typically, it does very well. The advantage with rodents is that it helps close up any weird gaps and holes that people might miss. It's a little tougher for them to get into it. They can still get in it. Don't think that they won't, because they will.
Right.
But when they do get in it, they won't probably destroy all of the insulation. And so that gives more options for the homeowner down the road. You know, if they want to just replace part of that foam that's been destroyed, they can do that. It is quite a bit more expensive though. So, but it's a direction that a lot of people are going towards, especially with some of the weird crawl spaces that we have. Especially in rural areas where the crawl spaces tend to be very tight and much more suspect to mold and mildew and rodents and other things.
Gotcha. Well, let's kind of go over a couple of trouble spots that you see could lead to more pest infestation. So somebody seeing a mouse, like, it's probably just the one, right?
Yeah, that's our natural default, and it's human nature. You know, you hear noises, you're like, that's just the wood creaking. And And I do that too. But the reality is that the biology is that it's usually not one mouse. It's usually not one rat. They typically, with deer mice and roof rats in particular, they tend to be very family oriented. So they're not solitary. So it's better to not keep putting it off. The longer you put it off, the more cost it's probably going to get to fix it. That's maybe a good way to look at it. Yeah. The sooner you address it, the less damage is done long term, and you're probably less headache in the end.
Well, here's one I get pretty commonly on inspections is vegetation touching the house, like a trellis, arborvitae. What's that called?
Wisteria.
Wisteria.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Wisteria is very common. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Clematis.
Yeah. How harmful can that be?
Well, so here's the deal. Roof rats, they got their name 100 years ago in California when they lived in people's roofs and they ate the grapefruits and the oranges and stuff. Out here they eat blackberries and apples and birdseed. But they originally came from Asia, really more of a jungle environment. So they, by their very nature, they want to climb vegetation. So if you've got vegetation laying up against your house, that's what they're going to do. And as they're up there on your roof at 3 a.m. running around, they're going to probably discover a way to get into the attic where they can kind of nest and hang out, and then start making that their home. So you really want to watch trellises. That's one thing that we really coach our clients through is trellises are good as long as they're not touching your house or letting the vegetation touch your house. And if they are, then you've got to think through strategically how to protect your roof and not let the rodents up there.
Awesome. So looking over your resume, I mean, there are a ton of things it looks like that you can address. What about the pesky neighbor kids that keep coming over to sell stuff for fundraisers? Can you help with that?
No, well, I think COVID's addressing some of that.
Hey, that's a good point. That's a positive thing. Well, listen, our listeners are going to want to know how to get a hold of you. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Really, the best way is just to give us a call. We service all of the Seattle area, Seattle, Bellevue area, and down to Tacoma and Everett. Our phone number is 425-413-9700. You can also look us up on the internet at greencitypestcontrol.com and kind of check out some of the programs that we've got. And we've got some different options, so feel free to call us and ask questions. We'll walk you through it. And if it's a good fit, we'd love to serve you.
Awesome. Well, we know you're busy, Scott. Thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And in the meantime, I also noticed you guys do mole service. So they start popping their heads up. If anybody has any questions about pests, except for the neighbor kids, please call Green City.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, Scott.
All right. Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right, so next up, after the break, I'll give you a little free preview of our Keller Williams Home Search app. Some of the cool things that it includes is the ability to build collections, share those collections with a co-buyer, and also an affordability calculator. So come back after this short break.
Is your company planning a new office and you're wondering who can help you with the transition? Sean Tornquist with Seattle Modern Office helps local companies plan their new office, buy and install furniture, and even relocate existing furniture and equipment. Furniture planning and consultation is a free service at Seattle Modern Office. Sean will walk you through all the complicated steps of executing a major office transition and find you the best product solutions for office furniture to outfit the new space. He guarantees your vision for form and function at your new office can be achieved within your budget. To learn more, call Sean at Seattle Modern Office. Reach him by telephone at 425-761-9473 or online at www.seattlemo.com. Again, that is 425-761-9473 or seattlemo.com.
Are you feeling stressed out and eating too many treats while in quarantine? Stephanie Johnson with AdvoCare can help coach you so that you're feeling your best, even in these times. For over 8 years, Stephanie has helped so many start a healthy lifestyle by teaching free nutritional workshops and recommending what AdvoCare supplements to take so that her clients can reach their health goals. Whether it's more energy or weight loss, let's come out of quarantine feeling good with summer-ready bodies. To get more information, you can call or text 425-269-0007 or go to advoteamjohnson.com. Again, that's advoteamjohnson.com or call or text 425-269-0007.
You know, we're living in uncertain times right now, and it's nice to have something comforting and local. Aaron Andrews with Indie Chocolate has new ways for you to fall in love with chocolate. Please visit Indie Chocolate at Pike Place Market or order Indie Chocolate on their website, indiechocolate.com. That's INDI chocolate.com.
In these uncertain times, are you in need of some great quality comfort food from the South without having to make it? Honest Biscuits has got you covered with amazing biscuits, both savory and sweet, and Southern food like biscuits and gravy, fried chicken sandwiches, and cheesy grits. They even have delicious gluten-free options and vegan options. You can order on our app for pickup, order through several delivery partners like Uber Eats, or they ship their biscuits anywhere through their website at www.honestbiscuits.com.
All right, so what I wanted to do now is show you all our latest app. So I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen here on my phone. This is my cell phone. And I'm just sharing some of the features of the Keller Williams app that we have that's in development. It's in, I would call it beta, but it's pretty close to fully operational. But there are some kinks, and if you can't, here's the challenge. Here's what I would like all the watchers out there to do is hop on here and take a look at one of the features that we have, and that is the affordability calculator. This, I think, is a different way of looking at for homes. The idea here is to take a look and see, based on the household income, 0. And, you know, you factor in how many debts you may have. Now, these are monthly recurring payments. So let's say it's a car payment plus your maybe you have credit cards, but your credit card minimum payment is, say, $50 a month, right? So let's just take a round number. Let's just say $750 with car payment and everything. And then your plan is to put 20% down. Let's say you got great credit. Oh, it doesn't seem to move. So, I guess it doesn't let me move that. And then your down payment. You can slide that down payment up or down. And I think if I don't have fat fingers, I can move that. There we go. So let's say I have an excellent credit score. And what it does is it calculates the rate based on this here, puts property taxes, HOA fees, annual home insurance. And then at the very bottom here, it's kind of giving you your budget. So there's your budget based on if you want to be, you know, conservative, or if you want to be aggressive. It's how much you can afford. So there's the monthly payment moving around there for you. You can do 20-year fixed, 15-year fixed, 10-year fixed, depending on what you want to do. And it's showing you right there what it's going to take to pay that off. So it's a cool little tool on the Keller Williams app that I want to share with you. And in the link will be there for you. So just obviously some other features just that this one has is great pictures. And then you can save or hide them. So let's see if I go like, oops, I want to annotate. Stop annotation. So it's got this section down here for saving properties. And you've got all these collections in here. So if I show all my different collections, I've got North Best, some dream homes, lake homes, and notice this is in Lake Chelan. Ooh, that's a nice home. You can look at the map view. I also think I have a collection here. I think these are some of my all-time favorites. So Garland, Texas, Sammamish, Washington, Issaquah, Washington. So you can actually save properties and search for properties. So if you want to do a little dreaming, you can talk, let's see. Let's go out here and see if there's any properties available out here. Oh, there we go. So you can create collections for your vacation home. Let's see, $3.9 million. Let's look at that one. And I don't know what will happen if yeah, it's going to stay in just this orientation. It takes a second to load. Ooh, look at all those beautiful pictures. Lauren, don't you want to see what I'm looking at? Oh, there we go. There you go.
It keeps but now it's better now.
There we go. So there you go, $3.9 million. So you can create your dream properties.
All right, that concludes our show. It looks like the sun has come out and summer is officially here. We really appreciate you all watching. I hope that you enjoyed our show. And if you know of anybody out there that's thinking buying, selling, or investing in real estate, the team would love to help. We appreciate it. We'd also love your feedback on Facebook or Instagram. Find us on Instagram as Eastside Real Estate Team, and Facebook, just Google the Eastside Real Estate Team. Thanks again for watching Real Talk with Dan Edwards at Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.